Now that God of War Ragnarok is out and the Norse chapter is over, people are talking about how they want to see a Christianity chapter next. I don't think it should be the next chapter, but I definitely think it could work as a future chapter. And here's my picks for some characters I would like to see in the games and how they would work. Comment down below anyone I might miss. So first off, I have God and Jesus together. The reason I put them together is because I have the same idea for them. Now, the thing with mythologies like Greek and Norse is the gods were bad people on purpose so that their followers would not want to meet them. But with Christianity, these two are supposed to be good. So, my idea for them could be that since they could be either allies to Kratos or oppose his use of violence, as in Christianity, violence is disliked. Next up, we have the Grim Reaper, who is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated gods, and people call him a parody of Thanatos. I would personally say he should be the first god you fight and kill, since the others are a lot more important. Next up, we have Satan. Now, he could either be a boss that Kratos could kill to pose a threat to Jesus and God, or alternatively, if Jesus and God are his allies, he could be like the big bad of the game that Kratos and possibly Jesus and God may need to work together to stop. Moving on to some characters who are not gods but I still want to see, we have the Virgin Mary and Saint Joseph. Now, these two, I don't really have that many ideas for how they could be uh, useful through the game. I guess they could be someone like Magni and Modi, where you just kind of have a boss fight with them for the sake of having boss fights with characters from the mythology. Or they could help Kratos if Jesus and God help our ally. Next up, we have the 12 Apostles, who I actually have a really clear idea for if, of course, Jesus and God are enemies to Kratos. So one of these disciples, I believe his name is James, betrayed Jesus in the Bible. So he could be a boss. And the other 11 could be like some smaller enemies you have to fight before you fight James as like the boss. Sort of like Juzu the Drunkard from Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, where you have to kill all his enemies, like his minions, before you can fight him. Next up, we have Abraham and Isaac. These two could be a double boss fight that Kratos would have to fight at the same time, or potentially, since God of War does explore a few what ifs, for example, in God of War 2 or Ghost of Sparta, I can't remember which one it was, Kratos helps the Spartans win a battle which they originally lost in history. And how in God of War 2018, Kratos kills Magni and Modi, even though they are supposed to be the only two survivors of a battle in Ragnarok. So it could be that maybe in this case, God wasn't fast enough to tell Abraham not to kill Isaac, so he does and decides to enact revenge on God or something like that. Now, moving on to some lesser characters, we have Lazarus. Now, in his story, he was brought back to life even though he was presumed dead. So it would be really cool if he was like zombified or something and kind of resembling a mummy. Next, we have Bartholomew the Blind, I think his name was. And in his story, he does end up regaining his sight, but maybe he could be a character similar to, like the janitor from the Little Nightmares games, where he has an enhanced sense of hearing. So you actually have to. He doesn't see you, but he can hear you really well, and you have to like evade him. Now we have Zacchaeus. He is a thief, and he's quite short, so he has to climb a tree to see like what is going on and whatever. He could be a character like Heimdall or Hermes, who's just really annoying and will make a really satisfying kill for Kratos. For the last character, we have Herod, who would definitely make a really good villain, as he has no goodness to himself whatsoever, and he literally kills babies. Now, ending with minion-like characters, we have both angels and devils and Romans and zealots. They could both either be different enemies for different environments, or they could be like the light and dark elves where they are at war with each other and will also attack you. By the way, for anyone wondering, this video does not mean I'm quitting JPEG, it's just some ideas I had about the Christianity chapter for God of War.